Just because you have locks doesn't make you woke. Hi my loves, it's your related girl from around the way, where we have culture, conversation, and community. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing spirituality and how it relates to your locks. So I know that a lot of people will look at a person with locks and thinks, oh, he's a hotepper, or they are super woke, but that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes people choose to lock their hair for multiple reasons, but I'll just go into a little bit of history about locks. In my personal opinion, I do think that locks can oftentimes signify a spiritual journey, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Most people associate locks and dreadlocks with Rastas or the Rastafari movement. It's said because they dread God or they fear God is why they wear their hair that way. So called themselves dreads because they dreaded God or they feared God, hence the term like dreadlocks. Because the dreads wore locks in their hair. That's kind of like how it came about, but it's a little bit of more history behind it, but we'll get into that in a second. But prior to like the Rastafari movement and everything like that coming to the forefront, there were like artifacts and tombstones and mummies of people who literally had locks. Back in ancient Kemet, most of you know that by ancient Egypt, okay? And people back then wore their hair in locks as well. Surprise, surprise. There is also a really old story in a really famous book called the Bible that has an account of a guy named Samson in the Old Testament, pretty much talking about how his power was in his hair, and he had 7 locks of hair, that a woman named Delilah came and cut it off, which depleted him of all of his power, which is also, might I add, an illustration of how patriarchy has been written into history all throughout any type of ancient text, and still today subconsciously and consciously affect female and male relationships. But we're not going to get into that. That's another video. I digress. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is that locks are nothing new under the sun. People have been locking their hair since the beginning of time, since way back when. Locks have been here because we have been here, period. The Rastas went to war when their emperor was overthrown by like Christians who were trying to convert them, and the Ethiopian Rastas pretty much said, and they took a vow that they are not going to cut their hair until the war is over and their emperor was reinstated, which was like a symbol of, you know, just dedication and commitment to one another. But it also made them stand out, obviously, you know, so they know, okay, so you are part of the rebellion, obviously, because your hair is locked up, you have these dreadlocks, and any of the Rastas who were found with ganja on them were to be arrested and persecuted, because they seen them as a threat to Christianity, and they were being like brutally forced into that religion, hence a war. And other people who weren't a part of the culture gave them the term dreads based on their hair because it was dreadful to look at them or dreadful to see them. And the Rastas kind of took that word and flipped it and made it into something, you know, a term of endearment. Like, yeah, well, I am dreadful. I'm dreadful of God, and I ain't dreadful of you. You know, I don't dread you all, but I dread God. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of took that word and flipped it into something positive. We see that with people using the N word, you know what I mean? Very easy to understand. So locking your hair to me is, one, a part of history. Let's just start there. And 2, just a natural act of rebellion. Although I can also argue even my own point of how can it really be a rebellion if this is how my hair naturally grows out of my scalp. I'm just being my natural self. But we all know that in today's society, a black person with a black body, with black skin that presents black, obviously my being and my person is a rebellion. So I don't want to conform to certain type of social constructs, so therefore I'm going to wear my hair naturally. And you know, and although I'm not vowing to like I'm going to cut my hair at the end of the war, I'm taking a vow to myself that this is what I want to do, right? So instead of it being like a group of people, I'm taking a vow to myself like this is where I am at in my life, okay? So I want to see it through. Again, and it is a way to go against the system a little bit, but again, it's also how our hair naturally grows. We should be able to be exactly who we are, untamed and just wild and free, however that may be, however that may look. So in theory, it's not as far-fetched as you may think it is, but in the world, in the climate that we live in, it somehow becomes an act of rebellion. Just think about the perversion. Me wearing my hair in a natural state like locks is a rebellion to a social construct. Like, girl. Also, I would like to point out that people wear their hair in locks for aesthetic reasons too, because it is beautiful. And for real, sometimes people just ride waves. Like, it's hot right now. Boho locks, bohemian locks. Like, I have tons of videos of me just wearing faux locks because that's the wave that I was on. And other people do it too because they like the aesthetic. Which, don't get me wrong, is a step in the right direction, because I wore locks for a whole bunch of times before I actually decided to lock my hair. I love to see natural beauty celebrated, even if it's not 100% natural. If you get the case, just the whole aesthetic of the naturalness of locks is still beautiful to me. And with highs and lows, it's ebbs and flows. And no matter what, I'm just not folding. I'm not folding for unrealistic beauty standards. I'm not folding for peer pressure. I'm not folding for social constructs, because this is my hair. This is me. This is how it grows. I'm beautiful, therefore my hair is beautiful. And that's that. And here's the thing. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is going to be unique to you, okay? It's unique to themselves. And I know that, you know, it's like highs and lows. Some days I feel like combing my locks out. Other days I'm like, I actually like this. And this is no diss to people who have combed their locks out, because that's where they're at in their journey. Self-awareness is key. You need to be prepared and understand. Like, you ever been hiking and you're going through like all of the strenuous exercise and you're tired, whatever, and you get to a peak and you're like, wow, this is the point that I've been waiting for. Like, when you get to that point, you feel so accomplished and you feel so achieved. So like, really, the beginning stages is, to me, in my right, and how I feel right now, is really very, very important part of the journey, because it's how I'm starting. Like, it's ugly now, you know, air quote. It's not what I'm used to. It's only been 2 months. So right now, like, how you start is typically how you finish. So I'm telling y'all, y'all have to give yourself love, give yourself patience, and be kind to yourself with your hair, and love your hair, period. That's it. Like, when you're messing with your hair, have positive thoughts and think about how beautiful it is, even in the state. Not when it gets long, not when it's anything. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, my hair is beautiful, period. And you say it, and it's kind of just like, when you say it and you see that reflection, be serious. Look yourself in the eye. Like, how I'm looking in this camera is how I look in the mirror. Like, your hair is beautiful. You look beautiful. This is your hair. This is a part of you. I don't look in my arm and my hands like, oh, my hands, my arms are ugly. It's a part of me. Okay? Like, really, just y'all have to learn and understand and kind of deprogram everything that you were taught about having long straight hair and having a weave and all of this, you know, even though I still do wear weaves, because that's for real where I'm at, a part of my journey. Okay, make sure y'all check that video out. I'm gonna leave that in the description box. But I talk about why I do, which is very important, so I want y'all to check that out too, because even though I still wear weaves, doesn't mean that it's taken away from my spirituality and my connection to my hair. Okay, so we can get y'all, make sure y'all check that video out too. Even if you're not that spiritual, and if you are super spiritual, when you have your hair in a natural state, things are gonna rise up to the surface, okay? Things that you didn't even know that were there. And your journey's outcome is how you respond to those things. And then we see the history, like on the flip side, we see people who shave their hair. So you know what I mean? They have no type of bond or connection with their hair at all, because they want to kind of focus on the spiritual side of them. And then that way they're not so focused on the physical side and vanity of it, right? So you have like a flip coin. It's two sides to everything. Some people feel like I'm so disconnected to my hair and my physical appearance that I'm going to shave it all off. Or some people feel like I'm going to grow my hair in a natural state so that way I can focus on my spiritual self. It really just depends on what journey you are on and what resonates with you. But honestly, no matter how you look at it, it's still a disconnection from the physical form at some point. Okay, and everybody's going to show their spiritual commitment in different ways. So it's no right or wrong answer. You decide. To me, accepting your natural in any way you choose, especially locks and me specifically, is spiritual in its core. because I'm in my essence. This is who I am. How can that not be spiritual, in my opinion, right? Because self-awareness is key. I always say that. We are all interconnected with this universe. I am a part of the universe. Therefore, I'm a part of this greater omnipresent thing that we all call different names, okay? So therefore, y'all get what I'm saying. I hope y'all do. It has to be spiritual. If you have locks, let me know what you think. Like, do you feel like you have a spiritual connection with your locks? Do you feel like locks have helped you in your spiritual journey? If you're thinking about locks, what do you plan on getting out of your journey if you haven't started yet? I hope this video resonated with you a little bit. If it did, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my private Facebook group and we can continue the conversation over there. I will leave that link in the description. Make sure you check it out. As always, I am sending you much love and much light. Peace. Thank you so much for watching this video always to the end. You might as well go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let YouTube know it's real, okay? All right, for real. I'm leaving this time, but for real, don't forget to hit subscribe, okay? Okay, all right, you got it. All right, you got it. Okay, all right.